4 rounds down and now just 3 races left in the 2013 Toyota Racing Series. New Zealand's Nick Cassidy holds a 32-point lead, but with 225 points up for grabs, the champion is far from being decided. Winning will be everything for the top challengers Lucas Auer and Alex Lynn, and this weekend it's the 58th New Zealand Grand Prix, the ultimate prize in New Zealand motorsport. The pressure is on, but who will be the winner of the final round of the 2013 Toyota Racing Series? The Toyota Racing Series travels south again to the small farming town of Fielding in the province of Manawatu, home to the Manfield racetrack. Situated on 80 hectares of flat parkland, which has made Manfield a natural fit for all agricultural, equestrian and motorsports events, and the home to the New Zealand Grand Prix from 1992 to 95 and since 2008. The teams arrived in Manfield after a hard-fought weekend at Hampton Downs, which saw the return of GP3 champion Mitch Evans to contest in the New Zealand Motor Cup. Alex Lynn and Evans battled for the top spot in qualifying, separated by just 0.01 of a second. Race 1 was less than a lap down when Bruno Bonifacio rode over Jan Mardenborough's rear wing, forcing Mardenborough to the back of the grid for the restart. Out front, Evans and Lynn battled, with Evans taking the first win. Nick Cassidy was on pole for race 2 and stayed out of trouble to win and extend his points lead. But Lucas Auer slipped past Evans to take third on the last lap and keep in touch with the championship battle. Race 3, the New Zealand Motor Cup, and Evans was on pole and stayed out of trouble, but incidents around the track brought out the red flag. On lap 7, Felix Sorellis went off and Bruno Bonifacio was in the wall. Another restart, but 2 laps later, the safety car was out again and Evans backed up the field for the restart and finally crossed the line to take the cup. But it was Nick Cassidy who came away with the championship lead, Lucas Auer 32 points back and Alex Lynn another 20 behind. All 3 looking strong contenders for the championship finale in Manfield.
We're in the box seat, it's helpful coming into the final round, not needing to chase some points, which is comfortable, but we've still got 2 important races and we'll see how it goes.
Let's take a closer look at the Manfield circuit. Across the start-finish line, it's flat out in 6th gear up to 230k before dropping down the gearbox to 2nd for turn 1. Good overtaking on the inside. As you drift wide, it's important to get out smoothly. Then it's briefly back up to 5th gear before braking for splash. Crucial to brake on a straight line here and not to miss the braking point as you go from 190k to 112 for the left-right. It's very bumpy and physically demanding on the TRS cars, but important not to drift wide on the exit as it will slow you down for the run to the hairpin. The hairpin is 2nd gear, the slowest corner at 76k with a great opportunity to pass on the inside. The exit is important again as it's another long straight next up to 5th gear again for the run to Higgins. Over 200 kilometers per hour at the end of the straight before braking down to 3rd. This is the best place to overtake on the track, and the exit is forgiving as it's steeply cambered. But also, if you're on the outside and your tyres are in good shape, you can blast around the outside of the camber will slingshot you in 3rd and onto the back straight. Back up to 6th gear on the back straight, reaching over 230 k's on the run down to Pepsi. Brake and turn in early as the apex is late. Get back on the power early, letting the car drift wide, but not too wide as the outside curve is very high. Being smooth here will get you in the best possible position for the run down to the start-finish. Saturday saw hot conditions on the track for qualifying. 3 sessions for the TRS cars and the best times from Q1 or Q2 going towards the Race 1 grid. Drivers had 5 consecutive laps in Q3 in which to post a time, and then the average of their 3 top session times would count towards the New Zealand Grand Prix grid. A disaster for Lucas Auer in Q1, his car not running to full power, and it took the Giles team the whole session to diagnose a blocked fuel line. That effectively pushed him down to a low grid position for the Grand Prix. And at the end of Q1, Lynn was fastest on 103.812, Cassidy 2nd, but the big surprise was Stein Chateau's brother Peter in his first run in TRS, 3rd fastest overall. Q2 produced faster times, so this would be the grid for race 1. Hours back going again, and on lap 4 he was leading briefly before Alex Lynn once again went fastest. The times tumbled through the session. Lynn again fastest with 103.520. Stein-Schatorst was the big surprise, just 0.2 behind him, ahead of the championship leader Nick Cassidy. Q3 and the tactics came into play now, with many drivers putting in 2 new tyres on the left-hand side of the car. Victory Motorsport had their drivers drive through the pit lane as they warmed up for their best laps. These laps not counting towards the 5 consecutive laps. Lucas Auer was doing his best to make up for his disastrous first session and posted a 1-minute 3.472 on his 4th lap. Alex Lynn also took 4 laps to post his best time, a 103.604. Cassidy, 3rd fastest, 103.738, and Ignacio da Costa surprised with a 4th fastest, a 103.788. After averaging the top times for all the sessions, though, it was Alex Lynn on pole from Nick Cassidy.
Well, all smiles, Alex. Pole position for the New Zealand Grand Prix.
No, I'm really happy about that. The team worked really hard last night, and the engineers stayed till about 9 o'clock to try and get the setup right, because I don't think we were quite as quick as Lucas in practice yesterday. So, yeah, we tried really hard and we nailed it today.
Well, Lucas is up against it, problems in practice, so it really comes down to a 2-horse race.
I mean, you can never know. It's a long race, but, you know, certainly me and Nick are looking good. I think we've got quite good pace. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
It's not over yet. You know, things like that can happen in motorsport, and you know, the points are in the races. You get the points, not in qualifying. So let's see.
Coming up, we meet 2 British drivers with very different career paths and the highlights of race 1 at the Toyota Racing Series at the New Zealand Grand Prix. Alex Lynn debuted in the Toyota Racing Series as a 17-year-old in 2011. Since then, he's gone on to win the UK Formula Renault Series and climb to pole position on his first visit to the Macau Grand Prix in 2012.
But yeah, I think it will help me and stand me in good stead for when I go back to Europe. I'm competing in the European Formula 3 Championship with Prix Power Team, so yeah, it should be a good fun season.
Jan Mardenborough had never driven a race car before 2011 when he claimed victory in the Sony PlayStation 3 GT Academy. Since then, this gamer from Wales has raced GT touring cars and comes to TRS for his first taste in single-seaters.
Nissan decided, okay, you've done quite well in GTs, let's see how you do in a single-seater. So I was brought over here to maybe give them a more of an understanding of what I could do and what opportunities they could give to me in the future. So I'm enjoying myself down here, and it's another sort of feather in my cap, really. So I've driven GTs, I've done some karting, I've done some single-seaters, so it's all helped become a more rounded driver. I say the biggest challenge is the racing for starters. It's a lot more aggressive. Everyone's a lot more aggressive. They show you a lot less respect, that's for sure. So that's something that I'm getting my head around at the moment, and it's exactly what Nissan sent me over here to do, just to get experience in racing. I've tested single-seaters, but I've never raced them, so it's very good to me.
And some new faces to the TRS paddock this week. From Italy, Ignacio da Costa has been racing Formula Renault 2.0 and has joined the series at round 4 with Victory Motorsport. Peter Shorthorse also joins his brother Stein at the M2 competition. And making his 47th start to the New Zealand Grand Prix, 71-year-old Ken Smith. He'll drive the number 9 car which Mitch Evans drove to victory in the New Zealand Motor Cup.
Yeah, no, it's magic to be back here. I mean, it's the 47th, and I'm sure going to make 50 of them, if not more, if I'm still kicking. So I enjoy it. I know the competitiveness not there because you can't jump in one of these. These are very, very hard cars to drive, and they're quick cars when you get them mastered. But I'm happy what I'm doing.
So let's see how they line up for race 1. On pole position is Britain's Alex Lynn. Alongside him, the Netherlands' Stein-Schatorst in the number 21. Then it's Nick Cassidy, the championship leader, and alongside him, his contender, Lucas Auer of Austria. Then it's Pippo Derani and Peter Shorthorse, not far away from his brother Stein, on the same side of the track. Bruno Bonifacio and Ignacio da Costa on the next row. Then it's Jan Mardenborough and Felix Sorellis. Andrew Tang and Tanat Satyantara Kool line up behind them. Then it's Nicholas Latifi, Olsen, then Damon Leach, Akash Nandi, Michael Scott, Spike Goddard, and at the back, Tatiana Calderon and Kenny Smith. The grid lined up then for the Dan Higgins Memorial Trophy. Lynn on the pole position, but Chatorce gets away even better from second. Cassidy got away well too as they head towards the first corner. Lynn has bogged off the line and Chatorce has taken the lead. Cassidy's gone with him. They're side by side into turn one here at the start of race one here from Manfield, and it's Chatorce from Cassidy, Lynn, Pivotarani and Lucas Auer side by side as they head towards the S's for the first time. Finally, the number 11, Lucas Auer, gets through and into fourth place. Boy, did he have to work for that. But it's Chatorce who leads from championship leader Nick Cassidy, holding off Lynn, who's also in contention for the title, as they head down the back straight, up through the gearbox again and towards Higgins for the first time. There's Kenny Smith, 71-year-old Kenny Smith, mixing it up with the youngsters. On board and into Higgins for the first time goes Stein Chatorsten, leading the way. He's had a fourth place, a third place, a second place. He's yet to win a race in the Toyota Racing Series. D'Agosta, the Italian, the new boy going through. Latifi getting through on Andrew Tang in midfield. But it's Chatorce who leads in the 21 as they come to complete the first lap. Chatorce fourth in the championship, Lynn third in the championship, and Lynn third overall at the moment, having started from pole. As we came to the fourth lap, no change at the front, but the field starting to spread out. Peter Chatorce coming into the series alongside his brother. Trouble at the back, that looks like Akash Nandi, the number 29 Malaysian, getting it completely sideways out of the last corner, but gathering it all together and getting back on track. The young Malaysian in trouble for a moment. Moving on to lap 8, no change again at the front. Chatorce pulling away, but now Lucas Auer putting on pressure to Alex Lynn and Cassidy, and of course this really is the battle for the championship. Cassidy leading it, Alex Lynn in third position, and Lucas Auer, as we're on board with him now, as he pushes hard on Alex Lynn, trying to get past as they head towards Higgins, but Lynn gives him no room. And Auer desperate to score big points. He's 52 points adrift of the lead of the overall championship of Cassidy. Chatorce in fourth place could put himself in contention here. But here comes Lucas Auer again, and Lynn having to defend. And such an aggressive driver, Lucas Auer. And he's put in some absolutely superb displays coming from the back at Hampton Downs all the way to the podium. So Lynn is well aware that if there is a chance for an overtake, Auer's going to take it. Meanwhile, at the front, while this battle continues, Chatorce is pulling away, sensing a chance for his first victory in the series here in New Zealand. And what a start it would be to win that Dan Higgins Memorial. On to lap 10, and a good battle for the top 10 between Jan Mardenborough and Dennis Olsen. And Mardenborough, look at that, holding him off there. And then moments later, Olsen again under pressure, this time from Spike Goddard on the main straight. Goddard coming alongside the Norwegian, but this time the Norwegian holding on to his position into Toyota turn one, down through the gearbox into second, and holding off Spike Goddard of Australia. Good battle then for position. Just behind them, Tatiana Calderon, who started at the back, the Colombian, in the number 7 E-Tech car. Had some good runs at Hampton Downs and Taupo. And now in this midfield battle, Mardenborough just ahead of these three, all battling for a top 10 position in the first race. On to lap 14 now. Alex Lynn of Great Britain, third in the championship at the beginning of the day for M2 competition. He had 654 points compared to the man in front of him, 706 from Nick Cassidy. And Cassidy maintaining that gap, but you can see it's not much between them. There's still a chance for Lynn to try and make an overtake before the end of this 20-lap race. But Chatorce out front, his brother in fifth. What a race this will turn out to be for young Stein Chatorce, who likewise is trying to move up the board as quick as he can. He's fourth in the championship behind Lynn at the moment. So it's very tight at the top with 2 races to go after this. Another lap completed. And you can only see one overtake possibility, and that's on Cassidy by Lynn. Chatorce too far ahead and Auer too far behind to catch that battle. And Nick Cassidy, last year's champion, looking for back-to-back wins. And he's had another very consistent season. No damage to the car, no incidents to report, no crashes, and no DNFs. He's been quite consistent throughout this season and continues. Nick Cassidy, just 18 years of age. Oh, and Mardenborough goes off big time. The number 23, Mardenborough, here's another look at it. Just got a little too hot in through the S's, and that spun him round and into the barrier he went, and surely that'll bring out the safety car. And they may not be able to remove him from there. And sure enough, the safety car comes out. And that means we're going to finish early on 17 as Stein Shorthorst takes his first victory in the Toyota Racing Series. So the results of the Dan Higgins Memorial Trophy sees Stein Shorthorst with his first win in the Toyota Racing Series. Then it's championship leader Nick Cassidy ahead of Alex Lynn on the podium in third. Lucas Auer keeps on the pressure in fourth place. Peter Shorthorst finishes well in fifth. Then it's Pippo Durrani, Bruno Bonifacio 7th, Felix Sorellis 8th, Ignacio D'Agosta in 9th position, and rounding out the top 10, Thailand's Tanat Satyantharakul.
I got Alex off the line immediately, and I could pull a little gap on Nick because I think Nick got Alex as well. And then, just drove the race as it was, and quite consistent lap times. And then towards the end we got the safety car. It's a shame we had to finish behind it. It's always much better if you can finish the race like it should be. But anyway, still, all the points, P1, first win of the season, so it's really good.
Good to get the points in that race, obviously. That's what it was all about. Tomorrow morning the same, and then we'll give the Grand Prix a try.
Yeah, I think our pace was really strong. I mean, obviously we were on double pole, so I think the pace is really good. Shame about the start, but I think we were quicker than certainly Nick. I don't know, Stein looked like he was strong, but is what it is.
Coming up, we pick our top contenders for the 58th New Zealand Grand Prix, and it's action from race 2. At 35 laps, the New Zealand Grand Prix is the longest race in the series. The cars will be fueled with an extra 20 litres of E85 biofuel. And the tyres will be used up by the end of the race, so pole position is no guarantee. Alex Lynn has pole, but he's also been consistently the fastest man in the field.
I've got my best tyres for the Grand Prix. Obviously it's a long race, so you're going to need everything you got.
Chances are there'll be a safety car, and chances are there'll not be a restart or two. How do you feel about doing those restarts?
I think in a situation like that, you just got to stay calm and think through. You know exactly what to do. You know exactly how to do it. You've done it millions of times. Just stay calm and don't let your emotions take over.
Nick Cassidy knows what it takes to win here at Manfield, but as defending champion, he's under pressure.
I think we're up to 16 international drivers. You're the lone Kiwi out there. Are you feeling the pressure?
I think it's a bit of a shame that I'm the lone Kiwi, but it's awesome to see the international drivers over here and see such a big grid for the New Zealand Grand Prix. It's good to have Kenny back too.
You like the circuit here?
I've traditionally gone quite well here, so yeah, I like it, but I've still got to work hard and I can't rest on that. So we'll keep pushing on and try to be as best as we can be this weekend.
Roll on Sunday.
Big time.
Stein Shorthorst will start third, and his brother Peter behind him in fifth, so tactics may come into play.
Had a really good start in the race just now. So if I can repeat that in the Grand Prix, then it should be good, but it's going to be really difficult, of course. 35 laps of focus and no mistakes, so we'll see how it goes. A lot of things can happen, that's for sure.
Bruno Bonifacio will start fourth, and an outside chance for Italian driver Ignacio D'Agosta, who will start sixth.
We're starting fourth. It's a good place to start. It's a very, very long race. It's 35 laps. It's almost 40 minutes. And I think we have a chance to win and at least do a good job if everything goes right.
But before the Grand Prix, there's still race 2 over 15 laps. And on pole position, it's Felix Sorellis of Puerto Rico, then Bruno Bonifacio of Brazil, and fellow Brazilian Pippo Durrani in third, Peter Shorthorst of the Netherlands in fourth position. Then on row 3, it's Lucas Auer and Alex Lynn. They'll be battling each other for championship contention, and just behind them is the championship leader Nick Cassidy and Stein Shorthorst. Then it's D'Agosta and Tanat, Latifi of Canada and Damon Leach of New Zealand. Then Dennis Olsen and Andrew Tang are on the 7th row. Tatiana Calderon and Spike Goddard are next. Then it's Michael Scott and Akash Nandi, and rounding out the grid, Kenny Smith and the man who didn't finish race 1, Jan Mardenborough of Wales. Race 2 from Manfield, the championship on the line. Felix Sorellis will lead them away. Bruno Bonifacio alongside. Away they go. Stein Shorthorst got a flyer, and look at Stein Shorthorst up the inside. He's slightly bogged there by Pippo Durrani, but almost up to third place. Peter Shorthorst, his brother, got a good start too. But into the lead goes Felix Sorellis with Bonifacio chasing hard. at the back, Latifi, and then Kenny Smith. Good clean start then for race 2. And a brilliant start by Stein Shorthorst. In fact, he slotted in right behind his brother, Peter Shorthorst, who started 4th on the grid. So brilliant start by him. And in fact, he's got ahead of Pippo Durrani. As already Lucas Auer trying to make up positions. Nick Cassidy, very important race for him. Started on the 4th row. But it is, at the moment, Felix Sorellas who leads the way. Felix Sorellas had led the championship earlier on in the season. He had a back problem and an issue after a crash in Hampton Downs. And there is Nick Cassidy, started 7th and trying to hang on to that position. And he's got D'Agosta, the young Italian from Bari, all over him at the moment as Sorellas continues to lead into the right-hander to complete the lap. They come across the line now, starting to spread out. The Shorthorst brothers line astern. And the stop, maybe not as clean as we thought. Look at the shenanigans at the back. Damon Leach, and look at this, Latifi bulked, Calderon to his right. Leach coming across to the right, and Latifi really with nowhere to go. On to lap 2. No real change, and at least Cassidy now has got away slightly from D'Agosta. Durrani trying to hold off Lucas Auer. Kenny Smith at the back. Peter Shorthorst also arrived to the series very late. Here we go with Alex Lynn, looking to try and get past Pippo Durrani into Higgins. But that's a good defensive drive by his teammate. Oh, and he's gone wide. This could be a big disaster for number 36, Alex Lynn. He just went a little too hot into Higgins. It's a classic mistake to make here at Manfield, and that's put him on the grass, and that could put him out of contention for race 2. He started this race 59 points behind Nick Cassidy, and it's going to be very hard if Cassidy continues to put the pressure on and gain places. He's just behind Durrani right now and in good points to catch up with that lead. Lucas Auer, though, is different. He's trying to get past Shorthorst. He's got 46 points behind Nick Cassidy, 2nd overall at the moment, and he's ahead of Cassidy on the road. Here is Cassidy trying to get past Pippo Durrani, the Brazilian. Durrani already a winner in the series. And here comes Lucas Auer up the inside of Shorthorst. Into the hairpin they go, and it's touch and go, and oh, Shorthorst goes wide. But back on track he comes. Pippo Durrani will get past him. Well, here's what happened. Peter Shorthorst locks up. His brother has to go slower than he would normally, and Lucas Auer pounces at just the perfect time. Looked fair enough to me. Here's Lucas Auer up the inside. Stein Shorthorst has to take avoiding action from his brother, but then goes wide, and oh, the stewards don't agree. They've given him unsporting-like conduct. Peter Shorthorst is in the pits. So that looks like his race is done, and there's the broken wing of number 22, Andrew Tang. He too is out. As we move on now to lap 6. And Shorthorst has recovered, but he's behind Cassidy. Cassidy still not able to get past Durrani. Here's Spike Goddard on Jan Mardenborough. Oh, they touch! And that's a broken suspension for Spike Goddard at the last corner. He goes off track and back on track. And oh, and that was mightily close. With, it looked like Michael Scott. Here we are on board, and look how close the poor Kiwi came to taking out Spike Goddard. Meanwhile, lap 9 now, and oh, more drama for Michael Scott, and off the track he goes, spinning round Alex Lynn. And here's another look at it. Lynn up the inside, passes, but then comes wide and touches Michael Scott. Scott straight into the barriers. And, well, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. He did come wide on exit, did Alex Lynn, but that spun him round, and Michael Scott either way. And this will give us a graphic illustration. Crunch into the Lexus barrier. And certainly Michael Scott knows who he's blaming. Lynn, though, more importantly, spun round, and look out, here comes Lucas Auer. He's already got past Bonifacio. Here he comes on Sorellas. What a drive by the Austrian. Totally inspired with the opportunity now. And this is big news, as Sorellas now has to settle for 2nd place in the closing stages. Lucas Auer leads this race, and what an important race it is too. And the question remains, will the result stand for Lucas Auer? He badly needs it for his championship hopes. He comes out of the last corner to take the checkered flag. Another very, very hard-fought race for Lucas Auer of Austria as he takes the checkered flag in race 2 at Manfield. Race 2 results were amended, and both Lucas Auer and Alex Lynn received 50-second penalties for their incidents. And that means that Bruno Bonifacio wins the race ahead of Nick Cassidy. Ignacio Dagosta gets 3rd place, Stein Shatost is 4th, then it's Dennis Olsen, Jan Mardenborough 6th, Akash Nandi 7th, Damon Leach 8th, then Thailand's Tanat Satyan Tarakul 9th, Kenny Smith was 10th, Felix Sorellis and Pippo Durrani were 11th and 12th and given a penalty for weaving at the restart. Tatiana Calderon 13th, Lucas Auer with that 50-second penalty moves him to 14th place, and Alex Lynn likewise in 15th. Then it was Andrew Tang, Nicholas Latifi and DNS for Michael Scott, Spike Goddard and Peter Schtorst. Coming up, the 58th running of the New Zealand Grand Prix, 35 laps to end the 2013 Toyota Racing Series. It's the biggest race in the New Zealand motorsport calendar, and in 2013, 20 drivers from 13 nations will contest the 35 laps. Our youngest is 16-year-old Akash Nandi of Malaysia. The oldest is 71-year-old Ken Smith, a 3-time winner of the race. The trophy is inscribed with the famous names of world motorsport, including TRS ambassador Chris Amon and young Auckland driver, defending champion Nick Cassidy. So, will we see a new name in 2013? So let's take a look at the grid for the final race of the season, the 58th New Zealand Grand Prix. And on pole position, it's Great Britain's Alex Lynn in the number 36. Then Nick Cassidy. Can he go for back-to-back titles and, of course, back-to-back overall championships? Stein Shatost and Bruno Bonifacio are on the 2nd row. Then it's Peter Shatost and Ignacio Dagosta of Italy. Next it's Pippo Durrani and Jan Mardenborough of Wales. Then Felix Sorellis, Andrew Tang, Nicholas Latifi and Damon Leach alongside each other on the 6th row. And then it's Lucas Auer all the way down on the 7th row alongside Tanat Satyan Tarakul of Thailand. Then it's Dennis Olsen and Michael Scott, Tatiana Calderon and Akash Nandi, and at the back, Spike Goddard and Kenny Smith. The 2013 New Zealand Grand Prix from Manfield, 35 laps in all. And Alex Lynn leads them away, but Cassidy gets a flyer. Nick Cassidy, the championship leader, and the man looking for back-to-back New Zealand Grand Prix titles, takes the lead. Shatost starts well. Round the outside he goes. Lynn will go to the inside, slotting into 4th place. Dagosta of Italy, but he's under pressure from Peter Shatost, who's already got past. Behind him is Lucas Auer fighting the car through the S's and gathering it all together. But a frenetic start, as you'd expect for the Grand Prix. And of course, different fuel loads. As look at this, Lucas Auer already scything his way past the Italian Dagosta and looking to try and get on level terms with Durrani as they head down the back straight towards Higgins. Meanwhile, though, Nick Cassidy leads the Grand Prix, and it's a familiar sight. The number 1 from Auckland, holding off Alex Lynn, who started from the pole. Shatost is in 3rd place, and just behind him is the Brazilian Bruno Bonifacio, who started 4th. Oh, what a day this is turning out for Nick Cassidy. This would be the icing on the cake on what has been a superbly consistent season. He hasn't put a foot wrong in any of the test sessions, qualifying or races. He hasn't damaged the car in 2 seasons. In fact, his father was telling me not in 3 seasons has he had any repair problems for Nick Cassidy. So that is massive consistency. Lucas Auer behind Jan Mardenborough now of Wales. Lucas already got himself past the Italian, and Durrani, he's disposed of them very quickly and early on, but this is classic Lucas Auer as he sides his way through the field and is next. Looks like Mardenborough and Peter Shatost, and here he comes. Lucas Auer right behind Jan Mardenborough, down towards Higgins, goes to the inside. Mardenborough tries to defend, but here comes Lucas Auer. Great racing from Lucas Auer at the inside at Higgins. That's a classic overtake, and Mardenborough did defend it, but Lucas Auer just kept his foot in, and now he's going to try and get Peter Shatost on the same lap. Surely not. He comes into the inside, jinks to the inside at the last corner at Pepsi, and he's past the Dutchman. That's incredible racing from Lucas Auer. 2 places in a matter of corners, and Lucas Auer is flying here in the New Zealand Grand Prix. Back with Pippo Durrani, he wants past Mardenborough as well, into the first corner, can't do it. Has to hold back, Mardenborough defending his position now. Back with Nicholas Latifi. He's behind D'Agosta. The young Canadian, he's had a good season, the rookie coming in here. But Lucas Auer has been so impressive. And here he comes, Durrani on Peter Schtorst. Very similar to the accident his brother was involved in, but this time everybody clean. A little bit of a signal then from Durrani. I'm not sure what he's trying to say to Peter, except I'm coming through. And that's what he's trying to do, that's for sure. But Peter Schtorst has other ideas, and Durrani has to back off. He goes to the inside. Good move from Pippo Durrani, that was classic. And he's passed him out of Higgins. So, Pippo Durrani got his way, and Peter Schtorst will have to build again. Great racing here, and of course the fuel load's different because of the 35 laps, so a bit of oversteer there for Peter Schtorst. So they're getting used to the cars at the moment as the fuel load comes down. It'll become easier to drive, and of course the tyres, though, will start to wear out. Here comes D'Agosta again on Schtorst. And D'Agosta gets past into the first corner. So the Italian is through. So it's graduation day for these boys. Long season for most of them, except for Peter Schtorst and the man you're looking at now, D'Agosta. But over 2,000 kilometres of racing, testing and qualifying. Dennis Olsen's learned a fair bit, and he's fighting with Tatiana Calderon. Calderon in front of him, very impressive throughout the season. The young 19-year-old Colombian, the only female in the field this year. As Latifi, number 18 from Canada, trying to get past Schtorst. There's Nick Cassidy out there on his own and holding that gap between himself and Alex Lynn. And remember, the championship may be over. Cassidy has wrapped it up, but it's the Grand Prix they both so desperately want to win. If Lynn can leave these shores with the Grand Prix under his belt, it will make a massive difference. As for the Aucklander, he has to win as far as he's concerned. He won it last year and the title, and wants to go back-to-back and become the youngest ever New Zealander to do so. Meanwhile, Akash Nandi spun it round, the Malaysian in the gravel. Here's what happened. Maybe a little hot into the last corner. Yeah, I don't think he turned in early enough, and that, yeah, he got on the marbles, I think. Look, he's on the dirty part of the circuit as we look from Dennis Olsen. And again from Spike Goddard, yeah, he's just a little too wide for that last corner, and that's how easy it is to go off here. The safety car is out and in, and we're racing again. And if Alex Lynn is going to pass Nick Cassidy, he's got to do it on this restart, but he doesn't look as though he's close enough. Meanwhile, Bonifacio and Lucas Auer are locked in battle. Teammates maybe, but this is the Grand Prix. The championship's over, and Bonifacio, oh, they touched! Bonifacio will not pull out. And that was very lucky indeed for both of them. Bonifacio being just as aggressive as Lucas Auer, giving him some of his own medicine perhaps. But great racing in the Grand Prix. Bonifacio, just like Auer, wants to win this race. Mardenborough up the inside of D'Agosta. The Welshman has been so impressive. Remember, this is his first single-seater championship. He's been so impressive. And to think that he started on PlayStation just a few years ago. Incredible story. So the race settling down after that safety car, but no change at the front, and you can see the top four. And battle here between Mardenborough, Latifi also on Peter Schtorst. So good midfield battles, but at the moment, Cassidy maintaining that gap between himself and Alex Lynn. It doesn't look hard, but it's very hard when you're out there. He's looking in his mirrors the whole time, and if he was to make a mistake, Cassidy, you can tell that Lynn is close enough to maybe have a dive up the inside. And there's quite a few places to overtake here at Manfield. Down to second gear here for the first turn. Mardenborough looking up the inside of D'Agosta. It's a long race, this. And again, Peter Schtorst into the pits. And it could be a puncture by the looks of things. It looks as though his right rear is slightly lower. And that could have been some contact. Yes, it definitely riding higher on the left. So Schtorst will probably come in and change that tyre. And Latifi in a battle with Sorellis, and up the inside goes Calderon of Damon Leach. Tatiana Calderon passes the Kiwi out of Higgins, and yes, they have changed tyres on the number 19, Peter Schtorst, and away he goes. Got a 5th last time out. Don't think that's going to happen this time. And Andrew Tang has passed Leach as well, so Leach in trouble. He's been passed twice in the last 2 corners, in fact. He'll try and come back at the Singaporean. And now Calderon all over the back of Felix Sorellis. What a great race she's having. Dennis Olsen comes alongside Leach. He too has passed the Kiwi. So Damon Leach has got some sort of problem because he's a hard fighter and he's letting them pass at the moment. But Calderon all over Felix Sorellis, fellow South Americans going at it, and Tatiana determined, her father watching in the stands to finish her season on a high, and she's coming through the field nicely. Like I said, it's graduation day for most of these drivers. It's been a long, hard 5 weeks, a lot of fun too, but intense, that's the word of the day. A lot of racing, a lot of practicing, but that's the point, honing their skills for the year ahead. Bonifacio will head back to do a Formula Renault series in Europe. And likewise, Tatiana Calderon, Formula 3, Lucas Auer, Alex Lynn, all going back to the Euro Formula 3 Championship. And that's what's so impressive about Nick Cassidy right now, is that he's ahead of this field and he's going to win the championship over this world-class field. And that's what he came back to do. He went to Formula Renault in Europe last year after winning this championship, but it didn't work out. And he's come back here to redeem his reputation, change teams, move from Giles Motorsport to M2 Competition, trying to prove that it's about his racing abilities, and he's leading M2 Competition to their first title. So he's done what he set out to do. Back with Lucas Auer, the hard-charging Austrian. What a season he's got ahead of him. And he may just blitz the field in Europe with driving like this. Makes the odd mistake, still very aggressive, but he's moved on so much from the previous season in Toyota Racing, where he got a podium only, but this year he's been so impressive. Likewise, Bonifacio has improved dramatically since he was here last year. Cassidy crosses the line again. Still the gap between himself and Lynn, no change there. In fact, they're pulling away from Steinschutthorst, the Netherlander, in 3rd place. Still the battle between Bonifacio and Auer continues for 4th. In fact, Lucas Auer struggling to get past Bonifacio, and Bonifacio not giving him any room. As we saw earlier, they've already touched, so Lucas Auer doesn't want to mix it with him too tough. Look at how close he is now. Back on board with Lucas Auer, slightly wide by Bonifacio. This is an opportunity for the Austrian. Down the back straight towards Higgins. Cassidy well ahead, but can Lucas Auer get past the Brazilian? Through go the leaders. There's 3rd place. This is the battle we're watching. Lucas Auer can't quite do it at Higgins. Bonifacio holding on. Durano behind him, then Mardenborough, and then 44. Dennis Olsen spinning out. Well, just a little touch there at the hairpin, and that's all it takes. He just hit the wheel of Felix Sorellis, and that spun him round. Here's Sorellis on his line, no problem there. And Olsen, and that incident enough to spin him round. Another look at it from Andrew Tang. Racing incident, pure and simple. Olsen spun out. So here we go then, the safety car comes off, and this is Alex Lynn's best opportunity again, as Nick Cassidy once again has to maintain that gap if he can. Here's the restart of Lucas Auer, and Lucas Auer goes very wide. Here's another look at it, off track for a moment, and that could so easily let him into the path of Durrani, but somehow he held it together. Bonifacio all over the back of Schutthorst at the restart. Good start from Bruno Bonifacio. He can sense the opportunity of a podium here in the New Zealand Grand Prix. Back with Auer. He's got other ideas. He wants to pass Bruno Bonifacio, but that's been a race-long quest, and he just hasn't been able to pull it off. He's got to work it all again after that mistake on the last corner. They head towards Higgins again. Really impressed with Steinschutthorst. He's, for me anyway, been the best rookie. And now he's won a race. He's brimming with confidence, and well, he should. Came here relatively unknown, but I don't think you'll forget both Steinschutthorst and the rest of the Schutthorst family, who are going to be big in motor racing. McGregor now a big name to remember in sponsorship. Crossing the line again, Lucas Auer. Everybody spreading out, and Lucas Auer looks again to the inside of Bonifacio, but he's got it covered at Toyota. Out through the gearbox. And towards Splash they come. It's critical to get this right. So easily to get it wrong. We saw Jan Mardenborough in the previous race head backwards and into the wall there. And look at them all lining up. And here comes Auer again, almost side by side with Bruno Bonifacio, but again the Brazilian defends his position nicely. Lucas will try and turn it tight, get all the drive he can out of Higgins. Up through the gearbox again towards Pepsi. Lucas Auer tucks himself behind the Brazilian. This is great driving from the young Bruno Bonifacio, who hasn't got the experience of Lucas Auer, but he's using it very well at the moment. And yes, it's frustrating Lucas Auer. He's actually waving and gesticulating to the team saying, hey, why can't I get by? He's my teammate, isn't he? Why won't he let me by? Well, the reason is it doesn't make that much difference because, all right, Lucas Auer wants to finish second in the championship ahead of Alex Lynn, but Bruno Bonifacio, now the championship is out of contention, is racing for the team and racing for position. So I don't think he's going to get much from the team, Lucas Auer, with that gesticulation, but he's frustrated for sure. And meanwhile, as these two battle, the others are catching just behind, including Jan Mardenborough. Pippo Durrani into Higgins. He's the first man behind this battle. And Durrani, another youngster, very impressive. Having won a race earlier in the series, hasn't shone throughout the year, but has put in some good performances, and it's been a good season down here in New Zealand for Pippo Durrani. And he can build on that, I'm sure, this season in Formula 3. Across the line again they come. No gesticulation this time from Lucas Auer, and no board to Bruno Bonifacio either. Bonifacio just doing about his business and trying to get the best position he can, and if Lucas Auer is going to pass him, he's going to have to do it himself. Fascinating stuff, and they've been fighting throughout what started in Teretonga, Timaru, Taupo, Hampton Downs, and now here at Manfield. Ignacio D'Agosta only did the last two rounds, and back with Nick Cassidy. How impressive is this run? Under immense pressure, you can see him looking in the mirrors to see where Lynn is as we go on board with the Aucklander. This is him approaching the last turn, very smooth, turns it nicely. If anybody knows this circuit and where to turn in, it's this man, Nick Cassidy. He crosses the line again, and could this be back-to-back New Zealand titles? It's starting to look that way. He may have only won one race in the series, that at Hampton Downs in race 2, but it doesn't matter. It's all about consistency, and Nick Cassidy, of all people, knows that. So many others have had mistakes, including Alex Lynn at Teretonga, going off into the barriers, but not so for Nick Cassidy. Lynn, though, will keep him honest. And likewise, Lucas Auer again building up to have a go at Bonifacio. Durrani wants some of the action. Mardenborough's in there too. A four-way battle now as they come out of their hairpin. And Bonifacio's going to have to really defend now towards Higgins. And if he's not careful, he could be under pressure from Durrani as well. Here comes Durrani on Auer, and he's got past Lucas Auer. No way! And he's going to try and get past Bonifacio on the exit. Great driving by the Brazilian. He's just holding on, but he's got past Lucas Auer, and I think Lucas Auer was taken by surprise there. He was concentrating on getting past Bonifacio. Meanwhile, Durrani pounced. Lucas Auer will try and come back as quickly as he can, and looks to the inside. But what an overtake. Here's Spike Goddard spinning out just a little too wide, I think, onto the entry of the hairpin, and that's the safety car again. So Nick Cassidy will have to do it all again, maybe for the last time. He leads them away and pulls away from Alex Lynn. Chatorst under pressure from Bonifacio. Last hurrah then for this amazing season of the Toyota Racing Series here at Manfield. Durrani jigs to the inside and tries to get a move on Bonifacio, and he's pulled it off by the looks of things. Great stuff by Pippo Durrani, who overtakes his fellow Brazilian and made it look easy into turn 1. So Durrani is through in the closing stages and up to 4th place now. Chator still 3rd, but look at this battle behind. Everybody gathering now for the closing stages of the New Zealand Grand Prix. But out front, it's Nick Cassidy of New Zealand leading the way, while all the rest are trying to gather position and finish their season on a high. As it stands, Nick Cassidy would finish on 915 points, some 112 points ahead of his teammate at M2 competition, Alex Lynn, with Lucas Auer in third position and Steinscher Torst in fourth. But that doesn't really matter right now. It's all about pride. It's all about winning one of the most historic and famous Grand Prix in the world, the New Zealand Grand Prix. And to do it here in front of all of New Zealand motorsport, just a dream come true for this young 18-year-old. And he's doing the business at the moment, holding off this world-class field. Will Lucas Auer get past Bonifacio? Well, he's running out of time now, and if he makes a mistake, Jan Mardenborough will pounce. He's just behind. D'Agosta's right there as well. So we've got a real finale coming in here to the closing stages of the New Zealand Grand Prix 2013. Jan Mardenborough looks to the inside of Lucas Auer, who goes wide at the hairpin. Very impressed with Bruno Bonifacio. Not put a foot wrong himself in this Grand Prix. A long way, 35 laps. But here comes Nick Cassidy. He looks in the mirrors again. The gap remains the same. Time running out, but not for Nick Cassidy. He'd do another 10 laps if he was given the chance. He's loving every minute of this. His parents in the grandstands. He came back specifically to do this one task and win back-to-back titles and prove that he is worthy. He started cautiously with his new team, M2 competition, was only ranked 4th overall, then made it up to 3rd, held on to that, and at Hampton Downs he started to make his move with that win in race 2, and bit by bit he's crawled his way to the front with immense competition from the likes of Alex Lynn and Lucas Auer, but he's held them off superbly, and now is going to go on to take a famous victory again at Manfield in front of a huge crowd here. Nick Cassidy. One more lap to go, comes out of the hairpin, holding on to it. What must be going through his mind? Alex Lynn, can he make one more lunge at Higgins? I don't think he's close enough. They come into Higgins, and sure enough, he isn't. So I think it's just going to be finishing the way it is, and that'll be just fine. Alex Lynn will be runner-up in the championship, and that means it's a 1-2 for M2 competition, their first title in the Toyota Racing Series, and that's impressive in itself. But Nick Cassidy has led this team despite coming into this team for the first time this year. And he comes out of the last corner, and Nick Cassidy of Auckland wins back-to-back titles and back-to-back New Zealand Grand Prix. Fantastic result for the youngster from New Zealand. Nick Cassidy is champion again. Celebrate, and well they might. They too are the new champions. Cassidy P1, his mechanic says. What a happy day for M2 competition and Nick Cassidy. So the results of the New Zealand Grand Prix for 2013 sees back-to-back wins for Nick Cassidy, the youngest man ever to do it. Then it's Alex Lynn in second place, Steinscher Torst rounds out the podium, then Pippo Durrani, Bruno Bonifacio 5th, Lucas Auer finished 6th ahead of Jan Mardenborough in 7th, Ignacio D'Agosta in 8th position, then Felix Sorelles, Andrew Tang, Damon Leach of New Zealand 11th, Nicholas Latifi 12th, Tatiana Calderon 13th position ahead of Tanat Satyan Tarakul in 14th, then Michael Scott, Kenny Smith, Peter Schatorst in 17th, Akash Nandi, Spike Goddard and Dennis Olsen, a DNF. So for the second year in a row, Nick Cassidy lifts the New Zealand Grand Prix trophy and claims the title of the 2013 Toyota Racing Series champion.
That sounds pretty good. I can't explain the emotion right now, but you know, I was counting down the laps. The car was amazing, and yeah, it's unbelievable. 2 years in a row. It's pretty big.
Talk us through the race.
It was quite simple. I think both Alex and I would have had a similar strategy if we're leading. I got the start, and you know, for the first 25 laps, it was all about conserving the tyre. We knew there were going to be safety cars, and the last one came with 4 laps to go, which I wasn't quite expecting. But we had so much in the car, so much of me. It was really good.
Tough season, all came good right at the end.
Yeah, you know, we've had a lot of things go wrong, but in that race, you know, the car was fabulous. The team did an absolutely amazing job. Huge credit to Nico, Ben, and Rusty. The car was very good.
Alex, you kept the pressure on through 3 restarts, but Nick saved the best for last.
No, I think you know, it is what it is. I didn't get off the line, but you know, you're not going to win the race if you don't get off the line well. I think we're probably the quickest this weekend, but didn't come over the results he deserved. But I've got to say, well done to the M2 team of wrapping up both championships, and I think I finished second in the championship as well overall. So yeah, no, good day.
Was Stein another tough race?
Yeah, it was absolutely. Yeah. Especially because I just didn't have the pace to keep up with the guys in front of me all the time. I think it was about 1, maybe 2 tenths a lap each lap. and so they could pull away just slightly every time. So that's a shame. So I couldn't get in the fight for the win or second place or whatever. But anyway, really happy with the result and with the whole season actually. So it's all good.
And you beat your brother?
I beat my brother, yes.
So Nick Cassidy is the 2013 champion. M2 competition wins the teams competition. Alex Lynn is the international driver winner. And Jan Mardenborough takes the rookie title. What a great season again, thanks to the team at Toyota Racing Management, who each year bring the series to life. But sadly missed this year is the late Ian Snellgrove, who was a key member of the team and contributed so much to the success of the Toyota Racing Series. That's it for this season. From me, Jonathan Green, until next year, goodbye for now.